record, $895 billion of the bill authorizes in spending.
Wow.
Just take a step and think about that. $895 billion of the bill authorizes in spending. And this is why China reacted to this, because the reason why, because we already announced that the threat is China, and we have to counter it by installing certain advanced systems in the likes of Philippines, the likes of South Korea, the likes of Japan, and soon to be Australia. So
this is connected to everything.
It is. It
is.
Been
discussing earlier. Yeah.
Indeed, and this is where that problem for the Philippines they need to understand. By them embarking on purchasing this systems or platforms from the U.S. with the purpose of the 200 nautical miles, they're gonna be, they meaning Philippines, they're gonna be contributing to destabilizing their own country.
Yes.
Not the U.S. is going to do it for them. They're going to be doing it themselves. And I hope someone will push back against President Marcos to kind of, you can't be doing this. You're dragging the country into a big hole now.
Yes.
This leads me to ask you, Anna, do you think Marcos Jr., President, I always like to give the title, proper title. Do you think Marcos Jr. President Marcos Jr., is fit to lead?
To be very frank with you, with everything that's going on in the country as of the moment, really, with all the allegations that's being thrown at the current administration, corruption, the allegation of drug use, the defective and very beholden and militarized foreign policy of the current administration, the corrupt 2025 national budget, the most corrupt, according to many, 2025 national budget of the country, and he doesn't have a very good sense of how the economy should be, managed to a greater extent, and the massive corruption is number one. I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think he is the leader that we need at this time, at this critical time of our history as a country. I don't think so. I don't think he is fit to lead. Maybe he's a leader for a different purpose, but not necessarily the leader that we need at this time to lead the country to a more progressive situation, or a more to economic development, a country that is safe and peaceful, because that is actually exactly the opposite of what's going on in the country at the moment. So I don't believe so. I really don't. I think we need a change of leadership in my country. But as to how it will happen, that's something that I don't know at the moment. But I believe we need a change of leadership. Because everything that's going on in my country, may it be foreign policy, may it be an issue of corruption, may it be an issue of the missile, the acquisition of the mid-range missile system, the control of the Americans in the country that is so heavy in terms of influence, in terms of the prepositioning military asset, militarizing the whole country by the United States. All of this is an issue of leadership, really. Everything comes from up, going down. And the one who makes decision is the president. That's how powerful the presidency or the president in my country. And everything. Take note of this, David. The sole author of our foreign policy is the president. Of course, there are advisors along. There are people who would advise him as to what to do and this and that. But at the end of the day, he's the only one who is the sole author of our foreign policy. So it's really up to him. In terms of in terms of corruption, it's him who can actually mobilize the state apparatus to control it, and who can actually kick out people who are corrupt. But he is not doing it. Really.
Not if he is corrupted himself.
Precisely the point. That is even the case of the matter. So that's very. So what I'm saying is that everything that is happening in the country, all the issues that's going on, it's an issue of leadership. Challenges both externally, because we have a very problematic relationship with China, and even Russia is reacting. Our relationship with ASEAN, I don't think ASEAN countries are happy with us. All of this boils down to one thing. It's the leader is probably not doing the right thing or doing the good decision as far as the Philippines is concerned, both domestically and externally speaking. So if you ask me if Bongbong Marcos is the leader that we need at this time, or he is really a capable leader given all of these things, I don't think so. So in a way, the question is, do we need a change of leadership? Yes, we do. But as to how it will happen, I don't know how it will happen. If it happens soon, or if it will happen, we have to wait for another more than 3 years more before the 2028 presidential election. That's actually the crucial questions at the moment, because as you can see, David, there are a lot of clamor for his resignation. A lot of people are not happy. A lot of people are disgruntled. There are different people from different sectors are disgruntled. There are a lot of people, Filipinos, clamoring for his resignation. That they want him out and be replaced with someone who Filipinos think can lead the country and who has really the heart of the interest of the country at heart. So there are a lot of this clamor out there. So that's why you have so many protests going on in the Philippines right now. So that's really the case. So for me, no, he is not fit to lead the country. He needs, if he really has some kind of conscience, and he really understands the country, and if he really loves his country as a Filipino, then probably the best way for him is to step down. That's the graceful exit, really. But if not, then you will have a lot of political turmoil in the Philippines from now until 2028 national election. I don't even know if we will have a presidential election by 2028 if our constitution is changed, because that is one of their objectives, to change the constitution for them to be able to stay in power more beyond the supposedly 6 years term. So that is another challenge for Filipinos, and that's in the horizon at the moment. So this is the critical. These are all critical issues, and we're like at a crossroad. The Philippines is at the crossroad at the moment. It's up to the Filipinos to decide, what do you really want for your country? Do you want to continue like this with that kind of leadership, or do you want to change and to aspire for a better Philippines? Now, if you want a better Philippines, probably Filipinos should choose the right people in a very critical position like the presidency. Someone who understands the world, someone who has a very good outlook, and I think someone who understands really the needs of the people and what is good for the country and what's good for the Filipino people. But that is a challenge to the Filipino people. It's really in their hands at the moment.
Hey guys, before I forget, if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video or have an interview. So what this leads me to ask this last question here, Anna, while we're talking about the resignation aspects of it. If I am, again, as an outsider looking in, I don't see Marcos doing that. I don't see him doing the right thing by stepping down, because we won't want him to step down. Because again,
the Americans would not want that.
I agree with you on that. But here's the thing.
They need Marcos Jr. to stay in power, and Marcos Jr. needs the United States to back him up domestically and even internationally speaking. And the Americans, I think, or the United States, don't want to have another Duterte in the presidency. That's also my thinking.
Yeah, and that was my next thing. If obviously, should this happen, that he steps down, of course, the vice president takes over. Now,
of course, that's
in your opinion, Anna, is Sara Duterte qualified to be a president of the Philippines?
I think so. I would agree. Yes.
What will she do for the Filipino people, in your opinion?